So we have, welcome
Welcome to Collins.
Coffee with the Collins.
And we're going to talk to you until the coffee runs out or gets cold.
Yeah,
Whichever
pretty
happens
much.
first.
So we have two cameras going, one on Facebook and one on YouTube. So we'll try to look at both. So if we're looking in weird directions, you know where we're at. It's actually not that cold out this morning, which is
No, it's almost not jacket weather. It's 52 this morning. So it was 30s and 40s the last couple times we did
Yeah.
videos.
yeah.
So, wow. The entrepreneur's journey. Crystal Collins.
Hi, Crystal.
Hey. What up?
Get out.
Oh
So
my goodness. So I asked Natalie this morning, I said, what is it? What do you want to talk about?
And it's funny because we always get this question of what exactly do you do? Because
we don't do anything exactly.
as entrepreneurs, it can get a little I don't know what the word is.
Well, I'll tell you from my perspective, I've been doing this for 20 years, right? So the way my journey started, oh, Michael, hey, good morning. The way my journey started was in 1999. So I've been marketing since the late 1900s.
You old fart.
I know, right? It was funny because last night we went to a domestic abuse seminar.
Yeah, rally,
whatever.
and award ceremony.
Yeah, and one of the girls who was there asked Natalie, do you have any kids? And she said, yes, I have kids. And you said you had one that's 20 and one that's 9. And the girl's like, there's no way you have a 20-year-old. And I was hoping she didn't ask me, but she would probably believe it with me. Hey, do you have any kids? 28 and 24, I think. I always mess up the 4.
It's actually 28.
Yeah, this is the year ends in 8. She was born on a 0, so it's 8.
Oh, okay.
Makes it easy
Well,
for me.
She doesn't look it, neither do you.
Well, thank you so much. So, I mean, what do we do is a huge question for me because I have been doing this entrepreneur marketing thing. I'm trying to go between the two cameras here.
I know, I need to squish them together a little bit more,
we
but
should
they're
do
on
that.
chair.
Or we could get one of those double camera fancy things like other people have.
Ooh, yes, more techie things.
Oh, goodness.
I'm all
so,
for it.
Started in late 1900s. Basically didn't have much success for a couple of years. The story goes that I got started and didn't really figure it out for a while. And basically went back through all my stuff and said there has to be golden nuggets in here. I mean, there really wasn't a lot of training back in the 2000s and such, so the people that I learned from were great people like Corey Rudel. I have a hard time remembering his name now. He died in, I think it was 01 or 02, but his internet marketing course was the first one that I got that actually had good information in it. And then the second person I learned from, shout out to my good buddy Mark Joyner, those were the two things that I actually learned the most from back in the day. And now there's so much information, so much misinformation, and we'll talk about that at some other date probably. I actually made a video about that a couple days ago, about the 7, the magical pricing number 7, which doesn't really exist, by the way.
I like it.
I mean,
He
there's a lot
doesn't.
of
We
people,
have this argument in the house all the time. Of
well, it's not even a matter of like versus dislike. It's a matter of people have claimed for at least 2 decades that if you price your products with the number 7 at the end, that it will sell better. It will outsell anything. That's the best price you could possibly have for your product. The problem is it's bullshit because I've tested it, and to me, it doesn't really matter what your price is as long as the value you're given in exchange for the number exceeds the number. And that's really all it is. You can have it ending at 3 or 5 or 0 or 9 or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. The 7 doesn't make it work better. Now, here's the caveat. And this is a caveat you go by. First, before the caveat, let's take a look at the internet marketing industry. Every single day, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people who come onto the internet claiming to be internet marketers. They claim to be internet marketers, right? I know people who have emails, maybe not companies, they don't even have companies, they're not even a real company. They have emails that say blah blah marketing at gmail.com. It's like, dude, you have no idea how to even market your way out of a paper bag. You're the reason why this industry has a bad name. So one of the things
That's a cool sunlight
that is a
on
cool
YouTube.
effect that I'm not sure how good it's going to be for the
I
video,
know.
but
Sorry, but it looks cool.
you guys are getting a better view over here. So, but anyway, so thousands of people come into the marketing industry every single day. And if you look at the internet marketing industry as a whole, hey Nicole, it's a tiny sliver. It might be 1% of the entire marketing world. There's no data, there's no tracking, there's no way to measure how many internet marketers there are. So, what I propose you consider is this. There's a tiny sliver of people in the world who are internet marketers, 1% at most. The entire rest of the marketing world has million and billion dollar ad agencies, corporations, all this big think tank brain behind it. If the number 7 was the best number to end your pricing in, don't you think somebody else would have figured it out by now? Or do you really honestly, at the heart and root of your soul, believe that the internet marketers have this little corner on this pricing strategy that nobody else really knows about?
So can you give us an example of what you mean?
Well, I mean, you can give yourself an example. Go to Walmart, go to Target, go to any of the big box stores and buy anything and tell me how much of that stuff has a number 7 at the end. Versus the almost 100% of internet marketing products that have the number 7 at the end, because that's a magic number. Really? Are you kidding me? You really believe this? Are you so delusional that you believe that the number 7 makes pricing magic? Should I do jazz hands? Jazz hands.
But see,
No,
I
doesn't.
use 7, and you also use 7 in your RPS systems and stuff too.
Yeah, and here's why. All that said, the people that we sell to are accustomed to buying with the number 7 at the end, because the lie has become truth to a certain extent over time, because we have propagated that lie so much. And you see that in a lot of places. You see it in politics, you see it everywhere. If the lie is propagated for long enough, it becomes truth. Therefore, in the tiny sliver of internet marketing industry, pricing your products with the number 7 at the end probably works better for a lot of people, because people have grown accustomed to seeing that 7. But that's why I price mine with 9s or 5s at the end, because I don't like playing that bullshit. Now, for clients like the number 7. So, for a certain extent, when I work with clients, it doesn't hurt anything. Really, it doesn't make a damn bit of difference at all. So, what's the harm? What's the harm in letting them have their 7? That's fine. Thanks, Alex.
He really is on fire today.
And if you were to see the video on the YouTube side, you'd see like this
big sunburst happening
going on. It's like beautiful. But anyway, so that's my thing. It's like, yes, in the big scheme of things, it's a lot. But within the tiny sliver that is internet marketing, if that's the people you're selling to, it has become truth, because that's what people have become accustomed to buying.
Yeah.
So
in the entrepreneurial journey with stuff, that is just one example of so many of the different facets when it comes to being an entrepreneur that go into creating a business and a sustainable business online.
yeah, and the thing is, I learned a long time ago from mean old Dan Kennedy and all those crusty old marketers who have been doing it for 8,000 years. Is you want to not only sell to your who, you have most people don't know who their who is. So like when we talk about as entrepreneurs, what do we do for people? The biggest thing I like to do for people is help you understand your who.
Yeah, and I love the system that you are creating at the moment. It's really fun to watch him in creation mode, because it's like these new things that you haven't actually seen before. So it's
yeah, and it's a takeoff actually of what I did way back in 2001 when I had my first big success with One Page Moneymakers. Now, One Page Moneymakers was never supposed to be a course. It just came about because when I was selling those little, I should have brought one out, the little mini race cars that I was selling.
Did you bring
back
one in
day.
the car? Is it in the pod?
It's in the pod. You're right, it's in the pod. So, but when I was selling those, the technique that I used was One Page Moneymakers before it was even a thing. It didn't even have a name back then.
So what's another word for one-page moneymakers?
I don't know.
A sales page.
Oh. I'm like, where the hell is she going with this? I have no idea. It's like,
a lot of people see them nowadays as
or a funnel.
Or a funnel, yeah, just like a simple sales page with a funnel back end. but nothing else attached to the actual page itself. Like, it's not this blog or a website or not a website, blog, about page, contact page. Like, there's not really any of that.
Yeah, it was one page selling the racers with a contact form for them to get in touch with me for customer service.
And why did you create that?
I created it that way because one of the things I saw is I saw all my friends building these mega content websites. And this was a thing even way back in the day. They would spend days, weeks, months building these huge websites. And at the end of all that time and all that energy and all that effort well, that's not even a word. Expended. All that effort expended, they made no money, no results, nothing happened, and so they killed the product. So what I was seeing is so many people wasting all this time. So like one of the tenets that I stand behind is simplicity. That's the reason I created One Page Moneymakers. Like, simplicity has always been a thing my entire life. Is I created the One Page Moneymakers because I saw all these people, even me, I was wasting all this time. And by the time you're finished with this grand, wonderful, 100,000 article website, it's your baby.
Right.
And you don't want to get rid of it. And you're going to hold on to that thing forever, even if it doesn't produce.
Right. And so the biggest thing with that is to test the who market on if people are even interested in buying the thing that you have to sell.
Exactly. So one page, spend 50 to 100 bucks on ads, see what happens, and see if anybody cares. If nobody cares, stop doing it. If people care, grow it. And that's what I did, is I listened to the feedback from the people, I grew what was there, and turned it into, eventually, like this is like the growth of what I did as far as products. So it was, I did the system, then I created a system around it to teach other people how to do it. And that was one of the first times I like spoke around the world on stages, is talking about One Page Moneymakers. Now, One Page Moneymakers eventually became repeat profit systems because I started stringing a whole bunch of these together.
Well, before repeat profit systems, what was it?
One Page Moneymakers.
And then the ultimate back end.
Well, that came after repeat profits.
Oh. Oops.
Because you create repeat profits and you create One Page Moneymakers, test it out, see what works. And you can literally do one of these a day. It takes you like an hour, so it's not a big deal. Like after 30 days, you have 30. If 4 of them work, cool, drop the other 26. Right. You keep on with the 4.
And you can do it with affiliate products. You can do it
Absolutely.
with physical products that you get from China, like whatever.
Dude, I made so much money back in the day from Google AdSense. Thank you, Joel. You taught me how to do that, Mr. Joel Com. He hates being called that, by the way. But
hey, buddy.
Joel Com taught me AdSense back in the day, and I was selling affiliate products by One Page Moneymakers, and when he taught me AdSense, I put that on there, and it's like, boom, just crushed it. I think I had about, in its prime, about 300 websites making $1 to $10 a day on average, and some of them making a whole lot more. So the One Page Moneymaker system was about that. It was take an hour, build a website, make $300 a month, repeat. It's so simple. Like, everything I do is so simple. It's not easy sometimes, but it's very simple when you get right down to it. So then that became stringing them together with repeat profits, and that became, okay, now let's put a huge back end on the back of it. Like, I had a $120,000 back end. Like, once you got into they weren't even called funnels back then, but once you got into my funnels, there was $120,000 worth of products that you could buy.
Yeah. And what do you now call it?
The badass funnel of no escape.
Lee's funnel of no escape.
So that's what it is now.
And so that's a broad overview of what Lee does. Is he creates and builds these and helps people build these systems and consults them through the nuances of all this stuff and how to actually simplify, how to get your stuff simplified, because so many people, including myself, by the way, like I started this way too. I still think this way sometimes, and so I have to like remind myself and scale myself down of like the simple things. And so
now the beauty of us coming together, let me interrupt you. I want to just intro you with this a little bit. We've got a little dog hair going on. Yeah. We have a husky shepherd mix, and she sheds like everywhere, even outside. So she's out here running around. So her fur is like blowing over the side here, and is like
she's like the pig pen of dogs.
She's such a sweetheart though.
Yeah, we have a Roomba in the house that goes every day just so that like it keeps it all under control, and I don't get mad if the dogs are shedding everywhere.
So I want to talk about what supercharges what I do.
Yeah.
and that's what you do. The element styling and the human design part of it, because those two things have really enhanced what we can do together with clients. So with clients, basically adding in, and I'll let you talk about it, taking what I have as far as the simplicity of the system, one page, test it, get your who, and that's like the biggest thing. Like everybody has all these avatar worksheets and all this bullshit. None of it works.
Yeah.
Not a
I hate
single
going
one.
through them. I'm sorry, guys, but I really hate going through them, and that's been my frustration for the whole time I've been doing this. Every time I sit down to do one, I'm like, I don't freaking know, because people that come to me, like, they don't necessarily match my avatar. It may be close, it may be similar, but when I meet a person who is an ideal client, I know, like, in my bones that they're an ideal client, because there's an energetic match
Yeah, it's
that
like
happens.
fireworks go off and all this stuff.
Yeah,
It's
and
weird.
I can't put that on paper. That is an
Yeah.
unplannable thing that is just, it's just not happening.
No,
So,
and just to wrap that in too, is most entrepreneurs, when they're starting or running their business, I mean, I don't care if you've made $100, a dollar, 100,000, $1 million. It doesn't matter. Most people that I've talked to, I think there's only been 2 clients I've ever worked with my entire 20 years, and this doesn't matter if it's from small business to Fortune 500s to congressmen to whatever. They don't know who their who is. Like even the congressman I was working with, he didn't really know who his who was. He knew that one label, but it's like, okay, how do we reach that label? Well, I don't know. He just did not have a clue as far as who his who was. He didn't
Yeah.
have a clue as who is who. But so the great thing about the way that I put this together is there is no avatar worksheet. There's none of that bullshit. There's nothing like that. It's let's let the intelligence of the advertising networks figure it out for you in such a way that you don't have a problem. And the second part of that I was trying to get to and I forgot is every entrepreneur has the fear of missing out. And in being in having the fear of missing out, they cast their net so wide. They're like, I don't want to miss out on anybody. And you miss out on everybody because of it. Because you cast your net too wide. Cast a narrow net, cast it deep into your who. And once you know who your who is, you can do that. And that's what I'm working on for you guys. Is this is a huge deficit in the industry. I bought everybody's products, or they've given them to me, depending on who it is. I bought everybody's products. Everybody's avatar worksheet is bullshit. It doesn't work. It doesn't give you what you need, and you're wasting your time. And the reason you're wasting so many ad dollars and you don't think Facebook ads work is because that worksheet they gave you is bullshit. Anyway, so that's the beauty of the system that you have is, and I want to incorporate this in what we're doing because it supercharges what I do.
Yeah.
Because it actually helps you refine and go deep instead of wide into your marketplace.
yeah. And so there's a difference with, finding what your advertise or your avatar is and like conjuring up in your head, and then a difference between that and meeting the person in person and discovering who they actually are. And so one of the things that I've been doing is I'm like, hey, I love and adore being an entrepreneur, and I love and adore working with other entrepreneurs. Those are the people that I want to help and coach. So, because literally people ask me, you're like, well, who do you coach? I'm like, well, I could coach pretty much anyone because I understand the different nuances of how people operate. I understand the human design. Human design is across the board. It doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or not.
That's right.
But I love bringing in how people work as an entrepreneur in their human design and matching that up together, and that becomes really fun.
Let's get that little moniker that we came up with in the bathroom the other day. That this is a weird place for us to come up with the idea, but you do it too, so don't make fun of me.
The shower, for
The
example.
shower, yeah. Like here's we were standing naked in the bathroom. We really weren't. We were wrapping up. We were dressed and everything, ready to go. And we actually came up with the moniker of your human design system, that it's really like the operating system for your soul to understand how your body interacts with other people in the world.
Yeah, so it's kind of like this.
It's badass. It's just like, that came to both of us. It's like, of course that's what it is.
So it's your energetic blueprint of how your body is designed to operate in the world itself, and it's really telling your soul, who's come into this human experience, how your body actually functions. And so that's part of the fascination of us as humans, is that we're here, we're having this human experience. We love learning about all the personality styles, all the different things that come around and describe who it is that we are, and we can see that reflection back to us of, oh, this is who I am. So it's a fascination with the soul to see how the body works. And so human design gives you that blueprint of, oh, this is how my body, the mechanics of how I'm designed to work. And so being able to read that and reflect it back to you, and you be able to get these aha moments of, oh my gosh, I've been doing it all wrong because this is actually how my body is designed to work. And bringing it in with how you do business and what you're doing with things, and where's that real yes? Where's the energy that you have to, you know, to really do what you're here to do? And are you following what clues your body is giving you? And so your body and soul can sync up and have a really fun and enjoyable human experience when you sync those together.
And the beauty is, we talked about boundaries yesterday. Once you know your human design, you can identify the human design of people around you, and it helps you actually put those boundaries in place.
Yeah.
We were actually talking on the way back last night from the award ceremony about how great human design would be for these people who have been abused, to help them understand who they are and who they're, for lack of a better word, attracting into their life.
Right.
Or allowing into their life in some cases, or allowing to continue to be in their life. How the human design could really help them just get above and beyond all the stuff that they constantly have to deal with.
Yes. There's also the elements that I work with people, and I'll explain that to you really quickly, because a lot of people are like, well, what are the elements? Well, we actually all know what the elements are: earth, air, fire, water. There's the 4 key elements. But there's a really cool system that has been created around learning what your element is. And what I mean by that is, we all have all 4 elements inside of us, but there's one that is the primary key expression of who we are in, you know, in our body language, in shapes on our face, in how we move throughout the day, in alignment with our human design. And so bringing the elements out in us, if you start to dress in alignment with your element, people start to see you for who you are before you even open your mouth. Like, you can just be walking down the street and they're like, there's something about that person that I get. And so because there's a resonance and a harmony of you being in alignment with that. Now, it's kind of scary, because when I first discovered my element, I played a lot in air and water, were the 2 that I subconsciously was playing in. I realized that that's where I was hiding in.
Yeah, very often what we found out is that whatever your element is, if you're not living your fullest life, you're not really like living up to who you are, you're almost always hiding in the exact opposite element. So Natalie was fire, she was hiding in air and water.
Yeah. So I discovered I was fire, and really had to check myself and get really honest with myself, which can be scary also, in realizing that, oh my gosh, I had been found out in a particular way. Like, somebody else could see who I was, and reflected that back to me, which is a huge gift, by the way. If you can reflect an honest reflection back to somebody, that helps them grow and enhances who they are, it's a huge gift. And so being shown that I was a fire type, and then learning how to dress in alignment with that and show up with that, there was this huge aha moment after I learned all the elements. All of a sudden, everything started clicking together outside of my in my peripheral. So I brought it into branding as an entrepreneur. Like, how are you, especially coaches, because when you go to a coach's website, it's all about the coach and how they can help you. But if they're not in alignment with their element, something feels off, and it's a subconscious thing.
Yeah.
And
let me add to that.
Okay.
Okay, so most branding people, when they're working with a client, here's what they do. They say, hey client, You say hey back.
Hey.
I want to help you with your branding.
Okay, let's do this.
Okay. So first thing I want you to do is I want you to go out and find 3 to 5 websites of people whose branding you like. Can you do that for me?
Absolutely. I know exactly which ones I want.
Okay, cool. Go find those things when you bring them back to me. Oh, which sites do you have?
Marie Forleo,
Oh, Marie Forleo has some fantastic branding. That's a really good one.
Chris Carr.
Chris Carr, sure,
Yep.
yeah.
Oh, and Brenda Bouchard.
Brendan Bouchard. Who else?
Oh, let's see. Oh, I love Tony Robbins.
Okay, all right.
Oprah.
Oprah. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, if you can now, what we're gonna do is have this session, and I want you to help me. Let's go through the site together, and I want you to tell me all the elements of each one of those 5 sites that you like the best. Okay, can you do that?
Yes.
So we go and we do a little hour session and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And what happens at the end of the day with 90% of branding people, and keep in mind, I've been in this industry for 20 years. I've seen and heard it all. And this is almost what happens every single time. There are some exceptions. Eric Stafford is an exception. He doesn't do this
Because he's awesome.
because he's awesome. And there are a few others, but Eric gets my shout out today. But all right, I want you to see what I came up with for you.
Okay.
And here's what I do. As a branding, not me, I don't do this nonsense. But most branding people, they'll say, okay, here's your website, Natalie. Boom. And guess what it is? It's a Frankenstein of
Conglomeration.
Brendan, Marie, Tony, Oprah, and Chris. It's like, oh, this is beautiful because it has all the things I told you I liked. But guess what it doesn't have? It doesn't have Natalie. The problem with most branding is that the person doing the branding goes out and just grabs a bunch of crap, pulls it together. They know the person's going to love it. Mostly, there may be some little tweaks and tunes here, but they know the person's going to love it mostly because it's all the things they picked out, including their colors. But let me ask you this question. What if they're really a fire, but they chose air colors? What's going to happen on that website?
So when people land on the website, it may be fun and cute and all this, but then when they actually meet the person, there's a disconnect.
Meet the person, read the copy, watch the video, listen to the audio, whatever it is, it's not fire.
Yeah. And so if that person's actually fire and they don't know it, then they'll show up, maybe there's a consultation call that happens, or they meet them at a marketing event, something like that. But when they actually meet the person, there's a subconscious something
disconnect.
that's off. Yeah, that disconnect that happens, but nobody really understands what it is.
Yeah, and that's until you discovered and
Discovered
taught me
the elements.
the elements and how the elements interact. Their words, their colors, there's all these things that come into play. And I've seen people charge $12,000 plus for a generic website that was just a Frankenstein of other people's branding and a 7-page document that described it was garbage. $12,000 for this.
So this just came into mind also.
Yeah, go ahead.
So with the big huge people that are doing branding and stuff, you don't even actually know if they're in alignment with their element too.
And the person we looked at, the one that I was just referring to, their website
totally
was
off.
completely bad.
Yeah. So that this whole realization with the elements and how they can really help with branding, especially, and I found it especially with coaches. A lot of coaches come to me to get in alignment with their element, to get in alignment with their human design, so that when they're showing up for their clients, they're able to click together really beautifully and sell the products that they're here to sell to their clients and everything. So the cool thing about that is that when they get in alignment with everything, they feel how they're connecting with their audience as well. And,
Hey Anita, by the way, good to have you here.
yes. And one of the other things that I do with the elements that I discover too is, there's this aspect of what is your environment look like. So when you pop on camera, like we're doing here, like, does your background match? Like, because trust me, there are some gorgeous backgrounds with stuff, but is it really actually in their element, or are they just creating this persona that they think looks really good off of Instagram?
Or because they found somebody else's and they said,
Right.
"Oh, I like that," and they put it onto theirs, not even
Right.
considering, does it match who I am?
Right. And so when we were moving and we were downsizing a bunch of stuff, and I sold my desk, I sold a lot of stuff that was in my office space.
Hey, Adam. Good to see you.
Oh, you're in Africa, Anita. Oh, so fun. Thank you for joining us. And from
You
Africa.
joined us. This is if we had a gift to give for the person who's the furthest away watching, Anita would probably
Yes.
get it.
Yeah. So, as I was downsizing, I realized that I had created my office space around a more minimalist office environment because that's what I had transitioned to right before I found out that I was fire element, and so. What I was doing when I was downsizing everything is that I was like, okay, so this is an opportunity for me to redesign my entire environment around my fire element. My secondary is water. Lee's primary is water and his secondary is fire, so it makes it really fun for me
So together we're steam.
I know, right? So I can create this environment with both of the elements put into place that supports both of us and resonates with us in this way. And then when we do videos and stuff in the house, that it starts to represent us as well. And so you can see that resonance happen. So there's something you can start looking out for as we are developing this new space that we have.
Yeah, definitely. And by the way, today's show is brought to you by Pride Mixed Martial Arts, Edmond, Oklahoma. Shout out to Jason. Miss you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Jason and Coach Jess.
And Coach Jess. We
Coach
love you
Jess.
guys. Okay, so what else around that?
I think that's the big things about it because, I mean, I do a lot more than that. I work with people who want to grow their six-figure business to seven. I really like working with companies who already have something going that we can,
Right.
if you're good, we can make you great. If you're great, we can make you just phenomenal. So that's the place I like to play. All the other things, we can build those into your business because that's what I love to do. I love to build the simplicity, the one-page money makers, repeat profit systems, and ultimate backends. And nowadays, it's incorporating the human design and the elements into it as well to just supercharge what you're doing.
Yeah, so the cool thing is, and it's really cool how we get to work together. And I say we get to work together because we choose to work together in this way.
Girl.
Lee has his one-page money makers, his repeat profit systems that he helps guide people through, but there's a lot of people out there that want to put together a repeat profit system, that want to create this entire like ultimate back-end system, but they're not ready for it. They may not even have a product to sell yet or know, what to sell or what's going to work for the people that they want to attract into their life. And so that's when I come into play, figuring out who you are so that you can express your best stuff forward and really get into the juiciness of what it is that you're here to offer your people, and getting alignment with your human design and getting alignment with your element and bringing that all together so that when you create a sales page and you create the product, it's all in alignment with who you are and who is going to be attracted to you with your audience. Because yes, you are here to serve your people.
Help, heal, and serve, baby.
Yeah, you're here to really, give them what it is that they need. But if it's not coming from you, coming from, deep inside of you and what it is that you're here to offer, it's not going to resonate and it's not going to sell.
Yeah, you want to know why your stuff's not selling? Because you're not selling from the soul. You're not selling from the heart. You're not selling from the place that resonates with your client base. And I actually am developing a system called Chakra Copy. And Chakra Copy is all about, a lot of people say, you need to write from the heart. Well, that's not necessarily true. Hey, Judy, good to see you. You need to write from the heart. Well, what if your audience is more of a root chakra? Those are completely different feelings and words and thoughts and actions and activities. Everything is completely different. So what we like to share with people is when you write, when you communicate with people, you need to communicate with them where they are. And let's say that they're root people and you want to elevate them to heart people. Then you start with them at root. You don't start with them at heart. You start with them where they are. So who was it? Somebody tell me, some of my marketing friends, who said this originally? You have to enter the conversation going on in their mind.
Oh, I don't
Who
know.
said that? I don't remember. I always forget. There's two people. I always confuse it between those two. So, but it doesn't really matter who said it. The addition to that is you have to enter the conversation in their mind in the way they want to be spoken to, and with the words, feelings, and even colors of what resonates with them. And you want to enter the conversation in their mind towards something, if you're in business, that makes them want to actually buy.
Yeah.
So you want to have you're having conversations with non-buyers. That's why people aren't buying your stuff. You're having people who don't want to buy your stuff because you're not resonating with them, because you're not talking with them from the right place, and because you're just not, it's not there. It's incongruent with who you are.
So, hey Adam, it's good to see you on here. Clarissa, if you want to find out how you can work with me on the elements, just message me here on Facebook, and we're good. And we'll talk. It's the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Easiest way.
Yeah.
So, and that's where I recommend people start. If you already have something going and you want to make it better, work with me. If you want to get something going and be sure that it's in alignment with who you are and who your clients are, Natalie's your person.
Yeah. So, I love where you started going with
Where did I go?
with all of this stuff, and it just brought into mind of like where you're resonating with your people, and maybe this can be a topic for tomorrow, because guess what, I'm out of coffee.
Mine's cold, so we're almost done
Which
here.
means, but it could be a really good conversation for tomorrow about every element has yellow in their color palette. But here's the thing: is that I think it was Perry Belcher who created like
The Belcher button.
The Belcher button. So there's a particular yellow, like the buy now, like he's tested it, and there's all this information and stuff around the powerful impact of having the yellow buy button. But here's the thing, is that you can have a yellow buy button on your site, but it can be in alignment with your element color so that it's all congruent and it resonates and everything's in harmony.
The thing though is what further testing has discovered is that yellowish orange button works fantastic on a white background. But let's say the primary color of your website is yellow or that same sort of shade, it gets lost in that.
Right.
So it needs to be some kind of contrasting color that you actually test. Adam, hey, your coffee cups are cool, thank you. This is actually called a Kapilka cup, and it's a composite between, I think, bamboo and some kind of plastic. So when I go trouncing through the woods with this, I don't have to worry about it getting broken or smashed or anything, and it's 12 ounces of liquid goodness. And what I did is I added a toggle to it right here. I don't know if you can see that. And a little leather strap. So I have a little piece of leather if I ever need it for something, and I have a toggle. So on my backpack, this actually just connects and hangs on the outside. So this is my cup. Natalie has one real similar to this. It's red, of course,
In my fire
in
colors.
her fire colors, and it's done a little bit differently, but same sort of thing.
Hi Nikki, good to see you on here.
And Natalie just has a regular old coffee
I love
cup.
this coffee cup though. But going back to chakra copy,
Yeah.
and how your words are resonating with your people, and how your colors are resonating with your people, and how they resonate with you as your element. I'd love to bring that all together and talk about what resonant actually means. And this can be a conversation maybe that we have
Yeah,
tomorrow.
that's a whole like 6-hour conversation. So
we can
will-
give you a brief overview of what the heck we mean by all of this
Yeah,
stuff.
so I mean, commitment, congruency, and resonance is some of the things that I like to teach people to do. And most of the time, just when I'm working with a client, a lot of the times what happens is you have things almost right to be optimized. It just isn't quite optimized yet. So often what will happen is I'll bring Natalie in. She'll do like an assessment of your human design and your elements and see, does what you're doing match that? And again, the people I like to work with have things going on. They usually have a 10,000 person list or more, or a very active smaller list, and they usually have products that are already selling, not products that you want to sell, that you priced at this price, but they usually have products that are already selling at $500 to $1,000 or more. But $1,000 is kind of like where I like to be. and then much higher. I mean, $25,000 packages, we can help you sell those all day long. But $1,000 is like the floor of where I like to start working,
Yeah.
because that's where that's my sweet spot.
Right.
And that's the thing. Like, we started talking about the entrepreneur journey in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
The entrepreneur journey takes you down so many paths, and you wear so many hats over a period of time, and you become proficient to a degree in each of those paths.
Right.
But eventually you find something that you're really good at. And what I'm really good at is systemizing your business and making it work better. Helping you break down what you're doing into something that's going to give you the same thing we enjoy, which is 3-day weekends every week.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't mean that we like slack off or whatever. That third day is for travel, is for training, is for whatever we choose it to be. And that's the things I like to bring into people's lives and businesses is you don't have to grind for 20 hours a day for 5 years to be where you need to be.
Right.
You
So-
do have to grind in the beginning a little bit, and that's okay. But if you're established and you're still grinding, you're doing something wrong. I read. Let me finish this
Okay.
real quick. I read something one day that said entrepreneurs don't take vacations, and I agree with that. Bad entrepreneurs don't take vacations. Good entrepreneurs feel like they're on vacation every single day. And those are the people, and that's what I want to help you get to, is I want you to be at a point where you feel like every day is a vacation.
Right. And I think what they're talking about is like the entrepreneurial mind never really shuts off.
Mhm.
And so that's the entrepreneur is always working, but when you're doing something that you love, it's fun and you don't want to shut it off.
Yeah.
You know, so
Like
there's-
yesterday, I took a drive. I said, Natalie, I'm going to take a drive to Wyoming. And that sounds like it's like this huge thing, but it's only an hour away. So I just wanted to go drive through the mountains and see the sights, and I wanted some thinking time.
Mhm.
So I took an hour drive out and came back. It took about 2.5 hours total, but it gave me some fantastic thinking time. Like the ideas that I spurred within those 2 hours. But to me, it's like a vacation. It's like, wow, I get to just go drive
Through the
so I can
canyons.
think through the canyons and mountains and all this beautiful stuff and just see the things. But the ideas that came from that, just they can't be measured. They
Yeah.
can't be measured.
Yeah.
So that
Good
sounds
stuff.
like a good wrap-up point,
I
doesn't
know. It really does. So, really quickly,
it? She always has to have the last word.
I'm a woman. What do you expect?
No, you're a fire element. That's
Fire!
what it is.
Um,
You see, I'm water, so I'm like easy flowing and going. And it's like, yeah, okay, well, if she wants to say last thing, she can.
So the 3-day weekend, let me explain that in a little bit more practical terms. Basically, we don't schedule client calls Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, that's all it means. We don't do
yeah.
client work on Friday. We don't.
We might,
We might. Just don't expect us to.
right? But that's
our day.
That's our day that we do for training. If we want to catch up on courses and stuff that we've gotten, or want to refresh ourselves on things, like that's the day that we really dive in and learn and grow and because as entrepreneurs we're constantly need to learn and grow. There's courses galore out there. When the heck are you going to have time to consume them? So we take Fridays, and that's our day to consume our whatever it is that we are interested in learning at the moment, or catching up on. Like you have a lot of client work that sometimes you need to catch up on.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll do website, development with things. If I'm putting together a branding board, that might be the time that I'm sitting down to do that. It's just our catch-up time where we don't have calls that are interrupting that flow space. And also there's a lot of events and stuff that happen Friday, Saturday, Sunday, those 3-day weekends. And so instead of having to move clients around every time we want to go to an event on Friday, we just don't schedule anybody to have calls on Friday, have it Monday through Thursday. That's when we have our coaching and consulting calls, and that's it. It makes it really super simple and easy to be able to have that flexibility and creation time and networking time, those times that we actually need to carve out of in our entrepreneurial life. That's what we mean by a 3-day weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just don't schedule client work on that day.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing. And all my clients I work with understand that I will work my butt off for you Monday through Thursday, probably Friday, Saturday, and Sunday sometimes too. thinking and scheming and plotting and figuring out ways to optimize what you have. Like, for example, if you're sending out emails and you're only getting you're only getting 5% of people to buy, how do we get that to 6? How do we get that to 7? How do we get that to 10? How do we make these things work?
Which might be, oh, you may need a refresher on this particular course in order to optimize what it is that you're doing with your client work too.
Dig deeper, watch videos, do stuff. Go back through some of my old training where I taught people. Like, that's been some of my most valuable things I've done recently is I've gone back through the trainings I put together and said, oh yeah, I forgot completely about that.
I used to know that.
And then we do it and it like doubles sales. You know, it's just fantastic. It's crazy how that works.
Yep.
But again, it's just the entrepreneur journey is about, I'll talk in a future video that I don't believe there's such a thing as information overload. And I know some of you do believe that. You get overloaded by so much information. Wouldn't it be wonderful if there was never a such thing as information overload ever again? How much would that change your life? And I think I'll talk about that on a future video and share with people how there is no such thing as information overload. It's something you're creating. I won't even go into it because I don't want to give away too much.
Later.
We'll give away.
All right, so let's wrap this up. Let's see, we've been on here for 46 minutes, guys.
Again?
I know. Yesterday was 40 minutes. We really only mean these to be like less than a half hour, so.
Yeah.
We got on a roll today.
I think I'm going to get my timer and put it here so we like have a timer going forward.
I think I packed it.
No, you.
I
She
don't
packed
like it.
my nice camera equipment in the pod. She packed. I had gifts just to close this out. I had gifts I was going to send out to people and said, hey, we don't want to move this stuff, so send me your address and I'll send you free stuff. Guess where that stuff is?
In the pod.
In the pod. We moved the stuff I didn't want to move, which is just hilarious to me. You know, I went to get some of the stuff to send it. I said, hey, Natalie, where's the stuff? And she said, it's in the pod. That was stuff we didn't want to pack.
So as we're bringing stuff out, you know, I've already been thinking of like, where the heck are we going to put half the stuff that we packed? I don't know, are we going to have to get a storage unit? Do we even actually need this stuff? Can we downsize even further? And so there's going to be like this other purge that happens when we actually get the pod. So
Yay, more purging. That's awesome. I mean, give me my laptop and iPad.
Judy has a good solution. She says use the timer on your iPad.
But that's not as cool as a flippy sand timer.
Oh, you want a flippy sand timer?
I want a flippy sand timer. The one that you packed in my pod, actually. That's the one that I want.
Yeah, well, we had to pack.
I'm going to have to go find me another flippy sand timer. If anybody has a flippy sand timer that you're not using and you'd like to donate it to the, what do you call it? Coffee with Collins Hour, we will mention you in our video and we'll appreciate you till the end of time.
Till the
Get
sand
that?
runs out.
No pun intended.
Okay.
All right.
With on that note, let's wrap this up.
On the bad joke, let's wrap it up. All right, guys.
All right. It's
Thank
good
you.
to see you. Good to see you on here. Thank you for joining us, and we will probably
I
pop
thought we were
on.
going to wrap it up.
We are wrapping it up.
Oh, is that what you're doing?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll see you on our next Coffee with Collins edition.
Hour.
Session. Hour. What
You
do
don't
we
sound
call
like
this?
you're wrapping it up.
Okay, bye. Bye. Bye.
Can you push my button too?
Yes.
Thank you.
I push the buttons.